Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a new Rapidi webinar about data integration. As usual, we'll be diving into the world of maximizing business synergy. And today we'll be exploring the powerful integration between HubSpot and Microsoft Dynamics 365 ERP integration, of course. So I am Serene, I'm a sales consultant here at Rapidi. And here with me, my colleague Andrea. She's a data integration consultant. Welcome, Andrea. And I will start by the agenda, of course, and I will explain the topics that we will have today. So, first of all, we will have an introduction to Rapidi. Then we will talk about the importance of integration. We will go through Rapidi integration solutions and we will dive into the HubSpot and MS Dynamics 365 ERP integration. Then I will take you to know about some of our customer testimonials, and I will explain how you can get started with us. In the end, we always have a Q&A session, so please feel free to write all of your questions and doubts in the chat, and we'll go through all of them and answer everything. So let's start by first topic, which is the company profile. So who is Rapidi and what we do? So we have a long journey of data integration that started over 30 years ago. The company, so the founder of our company, Michael Park, was part of Navision, which is old Microsoft, and this speaks about our expertise in Microsoft. And Michael, of course, is still playing an important role at Rapidi today. So at Rapidi, we specialize for some of the major players of the tech world, such as Salesforce, Microsoft, HubSpot, and more. And we can basically adapt to integrate any mix of solutions, any variety of solutions. We can meet your unique business needs. So we do have a worldwide coverage with customers through different industries. So about our technology, we're using a flexible, simple, and robust complete solution. What we use is called the cutting-edge cloud technology. Andrea will explain more in details later. So it's really really easy for everyone. It requires no programming, so it's really user-friendly. And of course, it's customizable and flexible to match your needs. So we believe that we go the extra mile for our customers. First of all, because we stand by you from scratch. If you have any doubts regarding the solutions that you'd like to implement in your company, if you have any doubts about the ERP and the CRM, we do not only integrate them, but we know them very well, and we can help you choose what would work best for you. And of course, when you start working with us, you will see that we work with a lot of transparency. We have everything is all inclusive, and we do not have any hidden costs. And our subscription includes our outstanding support, even post go live. And this is one of the reasons why we have amazing customer references and why we're holding the 5-star rating, because we help our customers through all the way and we help them grow. So we're offering a very good solution with an amazing customer service. So I think that's all. Andrea, over to you.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so now we'll talk about the importance of integration. So on our end, we think that the process itself should be simple and it should not give you any sort of headaches. Now, of course, when we talk about integrations, we always ask this question, why do we need to integrate? As you can see here on the screen, we have 4 buckets. So this would be the main reasons for that. First, we have collaboration. So when you have 2 systems integrated, then you activate your data, and then this will give you a full customer overview, and then teams will be able to collaborate better internally. The second bucket, which is very important, is about efficiency. As soon as you have your systems integrated and the data is flowing from one to another, then you will not have double data entries. You don't have to switch between those systems. You eliminate rework, and then you have a full process automation. Then we have quality. Of course, as soon as you have data, the correct data in both systems, you can say, okay, this is consistent. You can trust your data, and then you can build reports, and then you have increased user adoption. And then last but not least would be the growth. Of course, as soon as you have your systems integrated, you'll have better decision support, and then you have increased customer satisfaction. And then in the end, you do sell more and faster. Now, any integration is important because it will streamline your business and sales processes. It will ensure data consistency. So everything you have in one system will also be in the other system. You do get real-time data synchronization. Everything that has been updated in one system will be also shown in the other system. And it will improve decision making. All teams will be more productive, and you reduce, if not eliminate, data silos, manual processes, and any possible communication gaps. So in the end, it does enhance the overall customer experience. Now, we'll talk a bit about Rapidi data integration solutions. So as I said initially, we do believe that any integration should be made simple and easy, and it should be straightforward for any company. Now, speaking of that, Rapidi is an innovative iPaaS. So Rapidi focuses on simplicity. When we say simplicity, we refer to design, installation, and use. Rapidi is a cloud integration system that provides pre-configured templates that can allow you to actually integrate various systems. So you can easily start your project and get value out of the entire integration. We do have extensive expertise in integrating the Microsoft products and, for example, CRM such as Salesforce and HubSpot, but our work is not limited to that. The idea is that it's really important to integrate your systems because by doing that, you do become more successful. And I mentioned earlier these systems that we work with. So here you can see the most common endpoints. Of course, what you see here on the screen, these are the systems for which there is a high demand. Therefore, we do see quite a lot of integrations. So first, we have the Microsoft products. We talk about the ERPs and also the Microsoft CRM. And then also we have Salesforce, HubSpot, Oracle databases, SQL databases, and any other system that you might be using. Of course, if you have a system that you don't see here on the screen, it doesn't mean that we cannot support it or we cannot work with it. It's just a matter of understanding what the purpose is for the integration and what and how we would connect to that system, and which are the details with regards to configurations in that specific system. Next, we will touch on a few things. So when it comes to Rapidi, we want to highlight a few aspects. First, Rapidi offers data integration. So of course, we do work with the Microsoft Dynamics ERPs. They can be cloud or on-premise, and we can integrate them with any other system, with CRM such as HubSpot, Salesforce, or any other CRM. And then you can see different combinations. So you can have a HubSpot and Business Central. Then we can have, for example, Salesforce and any of the Microsoft Dynamics ERPs. We can have NetSuite, and then we can have Salesforce to Salesforce, if that's the case, and many other combinations. And then second, we talk about data replication. So you can definitely use Rapidi to actually set up an integration between multiple Dynamics 365 ERPs. And then, for example, you can have, let's say, many instances, and you can connect them if you want to transfer data from one legal entity to another. So any combinations can be possible as long as those are the ones that you need for your business. And then, of course, REST API and many other systems. As I mentioned before, we do list the systems that we work with because those are the ones that we work quite a lot, and there is demand for them. But there are also other systems that we have integrated. But if your case is very different, then you can definitely reach out to us. we can have an assessment and see what would be the best way forward. Now, we will focus a bit on the HubSpot and the Dynamics Business Central ERP integration. Speaking of this type of integration, we have to mention that Rapidi is an iPaaS, so there is no staging of your data. It's very easy to be set up. You don't need to be a developer or a programmer to actually work on the integration. We can connect multiple systems or companies. We can integrate any data. You can have standard data, you can have custom, or maybe a combination of both. And of course, our subscriptions are all inclusive. So you know from the very beginning what our offerings consist of, and you will have transparency overall. Now, when it comes to HubSpot and the Microsoft Dynamics ERPs or Business Central, here you will see the most common scenarios. So what you see here, these are the most common types of data transfers. And this would actually apply to a standard setup. So in Rapidi, we have built pre-mapping, we have built mapping templates that can be used by any customer in order to start the integration fast and be able to get value out of it. So for example, one example of that template would be companies. So you have companies in HubSpot and you also want to send that information to Business Central. So you can go ahead, you can use a template, and then all the companies that you have in HubSpot will also be in Business Central. And this can happen the other way around as well. Another template would be contacts. So you also want to have contact in both systems. You can apply the template, you can use it, and then everything will be available in both systems. Next, we talk about items and their prices. In your ERP, you would have your items and all their details and prices, and you want to send that over to HubSpot. You can use that you can definitely get that information via the mapping templates. Next, a really important one is the one where you have deals in HubSpot and you want to create sales orders based on them. So as soon as you have a deal and that's ready and you have closed that, you want to have a new order. You can use a template and then a new order will be created in your ERP with all the details from that specific deal. So you don't need to do that manually or try to enter any type of data on your end. And then you have sales orders in Business Central. And you think about, for example, sending all of them to HubSpot so you have a clear overview of those. You can also do that via Rapidi and have a full list of all the orders that belong to a specific customer. And the same thing applies to invoices. So you have posted invoices in Business Central and you say, okay, I want to send this over to HubSpot and associate them with a particular customer. You can do that and then you'll have everything there. And of course, if you have other objects, they can be standard or custom. You can definitely use Rapidi as well. What you have seen here, these are the pre-built templates that we have in our system and can be used immediately. However, if you have something different from what you see here, you can definitely still use Rapidi. You just have to create them separately. But of course, we want to offer this template so that customers can go ahead and start integration and save time on this entire process. So here we'll talk a bit about the quote to cash example. So first you have a lead, right? And then based on that, you have a company and a contact. As soon as you have those, you want to see them in your ERP as well. So via the integration and via the mapping templates, you can send over all that information to your ERP. So you would have a new customer created and a new contact. Then talking about deals. So as soon as your deal hits a specific stage, you can send that over to your ERP and a new order will be created. So that's something that can happen at all times. And then you have sales orders. So if you want to send them to HubSpot, so you have a full list of those orders, you can do that. And of course, invoices, as soon as they are posted, they can be sent over to HubSpot and associated with that specific customer. Apart from this process, we also have the items and their prices, which can be synchronized, and then any other custom objects. Now, let's take a look at how your data will look like into HubSpot. So for example, I'll share my screen here. So in HubSpot, you would have companies, which would be your customers in Business Central. So as soon as you have a new customer in Business Central, you can send it over here and you will see all the information for that specific customer. And the same thing applies to HubSpot. A new customer or company that has been created here can be transferred to Business Central. Now, as you can see here, this would be a list with all the companies, and for each one of them, we are storing the Business Central customer number. So this is a way to store this. This is a way to store a very important reference so that you can know for sure which is the Business Central customer number and related with the specific record. And then if we open one of the companies, you'll see this is the company, and next to the company, you'll see the contact. So if there are any contacts associated with this customer, you will see them listed here. So in Business Central, you would have this customer, and this customer can have 2, 3, 4 contacts. So as soon as they are created, they will be transferred here and associated with this particular company. Then, if you were to say, okay, I'm going to create a deal, right? And then as soon as this deal needs to be closed, then a new order will be created in Business Central. So this means that the deal will be transferred to your ERP, a new order will be created, and that order will be associated with this particular company. So everything will be clear in both systems. Another example would be posted sales invoices. So if you want to have a full list of all the invoices that belong to this customer, you can definitely do that. You can also transfer historical invoices, for example. So if this customer has 100, 200, or thousands of invoices, you can definitely list all of them here. And as soon as you have new invoices being posted, they will be added to the list. The same thing applies to sales orders. If you also want to see all orders which are associated with this particular company, you can use our mapping templates and have this synchronized. And as soon as new orders are created, the list will be updated and more records will be added to it. Of course, this would be the standard setup, but then if you have any other custom objects, you can definitely include them and make sure that data is being transferred from one system to another. Now, let's get back to our presentation. Now, we'll talk about Rapidi's key functionalities. So we have here a few: data mapping and transformation, real-time synchronization, customization, scalability, automated workflow, security measures, and then monitoring and analytics. Let's look at them one by one. So data mapping and transformation. As I mentioned before, we do provide the mapping templates, which are really good because then you get everything already configured. You just need to start testing. So it does not require major effort from your side. So you can definitely use them to map data between the Microsoft Dynamics ERPs and HubSpot. And then, of course, we do offer support for custom data fields. So, for example, you want to use the mapping templates, but you also need to add more fields to that. Maybe those are custom fields. You can definitely adjust the mapping templates and add your custom fields or anything that's specific to your business. So you have the flexibility that you need in that area. And then, of course, Rapidi will offer an intuitive data mapping interface. So you can customize your data flows at any point in time. If you need to make any adjustments, you can definitely do that and make those adjustments, and then you can make sure that they meet your business processes. So you have the full ownership of your data transfers. Then another important one would be real-time synchronization. So of course you have data in both systems, but you want to make sure that whatever you have in one system, it's also in the other one. So via the integration, that's being covered. So data will be synchronized and everything you have in Business Central will also be in HubSpot. Via the integration, you'll get immediate updates on, let's say, deals, on customers or invoices. So then by having all that in place, you minimize data latency and you do improve decision making within the company. Next would be customization and scalability. So we covered this a bit, and of course we mentioned that you can customize your setup at any point in time, but we also want to mention that we can adapt to any business processes and structures. And also we can ensure scalability. So it doesn't matter if you are a very small company or a huge enterprise, we can definitely ensure that the integration meets your requirements. And customization, which is provided at any point in time if that's required based on, let's say, your industry specific needs, or maybe some business processes that have changed, so then you need to make specific changes. Then we have automated workflows. So Rapidi's workflows will streamline your processes. And then this means that any repetitive or manual tasks will be automated. So you reduce any type of manual effort on your side. And of course, what's really important is that you have all the flexibility that you want in order to customize your setup. So you can do that at any point in time and ensure that they meet your specific business requirements and scenarios. Security measures, of course, is also a very important topic, and we are committed to data security and compliance. We do want to make sure that our customers feel safe and confident about the way we handle their data. Next one would be monitoring and analytics. So any customer that has, let's say, an active integration in Rapidi will be able to have access to the monitoring and analytics tools. So they are being used so that you can track your integration performance. So you have full access to that, and you can gain insight into how everything is running. Are there any delays, issues, or bottlenecks? And you have the opportunity to optimize them accordingly. So you do get our statistics for your specific integration, and you will be able to identify any type of issues and take action accordingly. Now, we have spoken a bit about HubSpot and the mapping templates, but we also want to explain a bit more how to set up this type of integration in 5 simple steps. So first of all, when we talk about HubSpot and the Microsoft ERP's integrations, we have to mention the configuration itself. So first of all, you have data mapping and transformation. Whenever you want to integrate two systems, you do need to have a data mapping behind that. And there has to be a certain level of transformations. So this is the place where we would use the mapping templates so that you use them as they are, and then you start testing and see how data is sent to one of the systems. And then another step would be the action. What do you want to do? So you have to decide, okay, do I want to create new customers? Do I want to update them? Do I want to do both? So it's up to you what you want the integration to do. If you want to create new customers and also update them, you can use a Rapidi, and then you'll have all that information correctly transferred to any of the systems. And then you'll see, of course, the objects or the tables that can be used. So you have companies, contacts, items, and all those that we have covered previously. Again, if you have custom objects that you are using in HubSpot, you can use them as well. And the same thing applies to Business Central. So there is no limitations with regards to that. For us, it's just a matter of having access and having the right permissions for that custom table or object. And then the last one would be link storage and lookup tables. So there are situations when customers want to store the record IDs that belong to those specific, let's say, customers. So in Business Central, you would have customers, and every customer, when you create it, you'll see a new unique ID that will be given to that customer. The same thing happens in HubSpot. So the lookup table is a way to store those IDs that belong to that customer. So one ID in Business Central and one in HubSpot. This is being used quite a lot by our customers because it's a really good way to see which are your customers, which are their record IDs. And the most important part of it is that this lookup table is being updated automatically. It's dynamic in the sense that you don't have to maintain it or do anything with it. It will always be updated at runtime. So whenever there's new data being sent from one system to another, the lookup table will also be updated accordingly. Now, step number one, of course, would be creating a connection. So when you connect to HubSpot, it's very easy. It's a 2-minute process. You just authorize the connection and log in into your instance. So that's very fast. And then you read the layout, meaning you read all the objects that you have access to. So the person that has authorized the connection will have a specific access. So based on that access, you can read specific objects. And then when it comes to Business Central, there are different ways to connect to it. So we do have instructions for that based on your specific requirements. So in that case, you would follow the instructions and set up the connection accordingly. Step number 2 would be to decide on actions, as I mentioned before. So here it's really important to think what you want to do, and it has to be the correct way of doing things. So if you say, I want to create new records, you would use an add action. If you want to update, it would be update. If you want both, it would be add and update, and so on and so forth. So you can use different combinations of actions, and then based on that, the system will do that for you, either add, update, or just do both. Step number 3 would be mapping and transformation. So we do have the mapping templates, which can be used at any point in time, but you can also add your own mapping if you want to. So if you have custom fields and you think that you want to change anything or add more to it, you can definitely do that. The mapping templates are a good starting point, but in case you have a more customized process, you can go ahead and add your fields within the mapping and adjust the current setup. Then we have step number 4, which is not mandatory and you don't really have to do it. So it's up to every customer. So the lookup tables can be set up on any integration. And then as soon as you do that, you will see that the list, it's updated with the record IDs. So every time the data is being transferred, this is also updated. So it's a way for you to see this one-to-one relationship for your specific records. Of course, like I said, it's optional, but of course, I think it's a really good functionality that can be used because it definitely gives you a good insight into all your records and how they are being created. And step number 5 here would be setting up schedules. So you can, let's say, go through testing, make sure that everything is okay, and then you go ahead and set up your schedules. When you set up a schedule, you have to think about description, frequency, which of course is very important, priority, it has to be a high priority or a low, and then error handling, error intervals, and notify intervals. So the last 3 refer to how often you want to be notified about a specific error. Right? And then, of course, the frequency is very important because you have to decide how often you want this to run. If you want it to run, let's say, every 10 minutes, every 5 minutes, every hour. So it's a way to indicate when the data is supposed to be transferred from one system to another. And last but not least, we have best practices. So whenever you want to integrate HubSpot in Business Central, then you have to define very well the integration scope. So have a very clear understanding of what's included in there and define what should happen. As I mentioned before, you have to think about the data that you have and what needs to happen with that specific data. Second would be timestamp fields. So really important, use timestamp fields because it's a really good way to actually track any changes that were made. Without timestamp fields, any of the systems, like in this case, Business Central or HubSpot, will not perform very well. And then create an integration plan. Think about a data validation process and error troubleshooting steps. When you are going through UAT, you have to validate the data and make sure that the data is correct. And then think about troubleshooting, who is going to do that, or which is your internal process with regards to that. And of course, the contingency plan in case something happens and you need to go to plan B, have something prepared so that you don't have any type of surprises. Now we'll talk a bit about some of the Rapidi's functionalities. So we have chosen a few. So we have the data flow actions. We covered this a bit, but I think it's really important to mention that you can use the data flow actions. You can use one or more, so you can have different combinations. And as soon as you choose them, then the integration will run according to the action that you have chosen. So that's why it's really important to decide what you want to happen via this integration and then choose the right action. Next, a very good and a very interesting functionality would be the write back fields. So when you are transferring records from one system to another, you might need to store some of the IDs of those records. So the first option is called Store New ID field. So this will allow you to store the ID of the newly created record into the source. So let's say, for example, you have a new customer in Business Central, you just created that, and you also need that customer to be in HubSpot. So that information, so everything that has to do with the customer will be transferred to HubSpot via the integration. And as soon as you see the customer created in HubSpot, the HubSpot ID will be written back into Business Central. So then you have the HubSpot ID that belongs to that customer. So it will be easy for you to identify which is that specific customer. And this can apply to any type of record. So it can be any invoice, order, or anything. But it's a good way to get that type of confirmation. And then the second type, the second functionality would be transferred field. So this allows you to write a timestamp, date and time field, into the source on each transferred record. So for example, you are transferring, let's say, sales orders from Business Central to HubSpot, and then you want to get a confirmation when those were created in HubSpot. So by using this functionality, as soon as the order is created in HubSpot, then we write back the date and time when the order has been created in HubSpot. So this will give you a confirmation of the time and date when this has been created, so you don't need to go in and check yourself, for example. So this is being used quite a lot because that's definitely a confirmation from the system that everything has been transferred correctly, and you don't need to worry about that. And then another functionality would be tags. So tags are parameters or variables that can be set up either at the connection or the data flow level. It can serve multiple purposes, but the most common one is the one where you have multiple legal entities in Business Central. So in that situations, if you have, let's say, 3, 4, 5 legal companies in Business Central, then you do need to identify them correctly. And you do want to read data from all of them before sending everything to HubSpot. So then you would use tags, meaning providing this parameters to each of those legal entities, and use a master transfer to actually get all the data into HubSpot for each one of them. So it's a matter of organizing everything into one master transfer through which the data belonging to all those entities will flow without any issues. So instead of having, let's say, a transfer or a data flow for each one of them, then you have one, and then everything runs through that. And just to summarize, Rapidi offers data integration solutions between, let's say, major ERPs and CRMs. For example, the Microsoft Dynamics products with Salesforce, HubSpot, NetSuite, Oracle, SQL databases, and many others. And Rapidi is a cost-effective and scalable business model. Data integration is possible within Rapidi for cloud and on-premise systems. So with cloud systems is fairly easy, but with on-premise, it's not that easy. So you can definitely use Rapidi for that because we have everything that you need to connect to on-premise systems. Then we have robust development tools. We have the mapping templates that we have talked about. They are ready to be used at any point in time, so you can definitely benefit from that. And it's approachable for non-IT users. You don't need to be technical or a developer to maintain your integration. And last but not least, it's manageable without specialized IT resources. So you can definitely maintain it without any major effort. I think that's it. Back to you, Serene.
Thank you very much, Andrea. Okay, so now to summarize a little bit, as Andrea just said, we make everything easy as part of our philosophy of data integration made easy. So we not only offer you a user-friendly platform that makes everything easy, but we also offer you an all-inclusive investment that makes everything easy for you. What you get is a one-time implementation fee and the yearly subscription, including the post-go-live support. So this is all you need. There is no maintenance costs, no hidden cost. What we tell you from scratch after the scoping call, it's what you get, and there are no changes at all. So what you get is the integration platform, which comes with integration configuration, advanced data toolbox, log, notification, monitoring, the Rapidi connector. You have access to the integration templates. They are complete business processes, already pre-configured, of course, come with the best practices, totally customizable. We have and we offer you full documentation regarding the templates. And you also get the Rapidi support, which is, as I mentioned, included in the subscription, meaning for all the time that you are a Rapidi customer, you have our consultants help for anything that you may need. We will help you maintain the integration, add fields to existing transfer. Also, you have also access to the integration advisory, and of course, to resolve the data errors. And now I would like to go to the next section, which is the customer testimonials. So, of course, the Rapidi customers are extremely happy about the solution, the support, and this is the reason why we hold and maintain the 5 stars as an average rating on major AT vendor platforms. I can name some, for example, on the Salesforce App Exchange. You can go visit our App Exchange and check more about our solution and the customers' reviews, of course. You also have reviews on Gartner, Digital, etc. And we also maintain the 5 stars in the average support rating in the past 8 years. So this is something that our customers are rating us because, of course, we are offering an amazing support. And here we have a review from a customer, which is the Diamond Wipe International. And they say that we provide a wonderful solution and we have best customer service ever. So this is the reason why they recommend us. So yeah, this is what we do, guys. What we do is help you do the integration that you need and stand by you with our customer service, which is fast and efficient, of course. I have a couple of reviews that I would like to share today. So first one is by Ariel Rankin, who's from a sales enablement department at Sunrise Power and Battery. And they mentioned that, again, a great customer service, amazing support, and that the implementation team has always been extremely helpful, responsive to all of their requests. And of course, since the implementation is done, the system has been working flawlessly. We have another review from Justin Liu, who is the marketing and product manager at Norset International. And they highlight the fact that we are very professional, excellent service. We help them to set up the connection between their ERP and CRM, and the service is very reliable with short response time. And while they keep adding more transfer, the Rapidi specialists are professional and responsive. And this is also a reason why they recommend us. So just to summarize, a system that works and amazing customer service to help you go through your integration. And of course, I would like to explain how you can get started with that. So it's really easy. All you need to do is to visit the Rapidi website and go to the contact form, fill in few information about your name, email, and tell us about your project, and we will come back to you very fast and set up a meeting to discuss the project. So we have a special offer for the 4 live attendees of the webinar. We are offering for the first 5 implementation a 10% discount on the HubSpot integration implementation package. So for the first 5 companies who will get in touch with us, you have a 10% discount. So all you need to do is just contact us through the contact form and mention that you attended this webinar, and we will apply the discount in the offer. And now I would like to explain this last slide before we move to the questions. We use something that we call the 5-phase approach. These 5 phases of the implementation process are something that is really important because we make sure that we offer you a smooth implementation. So first of all, we would start with the discovery, which is the integration project scope validation, and project kickoff with our consultants. Then you have the onboarding. We will be onboarding you into the Rapidi platform and Basecamp, which is the online collaboration platform that we use. Third step would be configuration, which is the integration configuration on the Rapidi platform. And here we do the end user testing. Then we move to the upload to production, which is the initial data synchronization, upload of historical data, and actual cutover to the production environment. And finally, transition to support. It's the post-go live support, project closure, and transition to the operational support. I think that's clear. If you have any doubts, we can talk anytime, and I'll be happy to answer all of your questions. Andrea, I think we have a few questions in the chat, so we will start with it first. So first question is from Sal, who's asking, do you support custom fields that exist on the BC contact card, customer card, item card?
Yeah, so the short answer is yes, absolutely. And that's because when we get access to your instance, right, you actually say, okay, you can have access to contacts, customers, and let's say items. So that's like the access to the entire page. If on that page you add custom fields because you need them, then those are by default included into the access that we have. So we definitely see any custom fields that anyone creates on those pages.
Okay. Okay, Sal, I'll be going through the questions. If you have more doubts, please feel free to write. We're happy to go through this. So the asking within BC, contacts are treated differently when the contact type is customer versus contact type is person. Does Rapidi take that into, let me share again, into consideration when the record is created in HS?
Yeah, so in Business Central, I mean, that's true. You have the company contact because that's created based on the customer, and then you have the person contact, right? So whenever we transfer, let's say, that information to HubSpot or any other CRM, we take the ones that are set up as person contact because those are the ones that usually companies need to associate them with the customer. As you've seen in my demo earlier, so I had a company, which is the customer from BC, and then next to it, you would see the person contact. But we have seen situations when customer would also want to transfer the company contacts as well separately. So that can also be done. But I think the standard setup is just have the person contact, and we definitely differentiate because you can set up any type of filters on your data flow. You can decide what to include, what to exclude, all of that. So you can definitely define what needs to be read from Business Central.
Okay. So they also say HubSpot has some unique date time requirements. For example, dates to HubSpot need to be dates at midnight. Does Rapidi automatically reformat time from BC to HubSpot?
So the date and time fields, the ones that belong to HubSpot, those cannot be changed in any way. So those will be updated when the record is created. So when you transfer, let's say, a customer from BC to HubSpot, it gets created, and then HubSpot will record in their own date and time field the date and time when that was created. So you cannot touch that. If you want to create a separate date and time field in HubSpot, then yes, we can definitely format that so it goes into the field and has the correct HubSpot format. And I think the same thing applies to Business Central. They have their own date and time fields, so you cannot touch them. Those are system fields, and they will record correctly the date and time when you created something. And any other fields that are, let's say, editable, right, can be formatted because we have formulas or expressions that you can apply within the mapping, so you can adjust that.
Mhm. Okay, so for on-premise versions of BC, I see that you have a connector or OData. Do you have any suggestions as to which is preferred by Rapidi? Are there any limitations that exist on one versus the other for on-premise?
Well, I mean, if you have BC on premise, then you would use the connector because then you have the Rapidi connector, you install it, and via that you connect to your own instance. And then when it comes to OData in general, we use that for BC Cloud. So Business Central, which is in cloud, and then you would go through Azure, for example, and you have a different authentication type. But for on-premise, I would say you would need to use the Rapidi connector. And honestly, there is really no difference. If we were to talk about how data is transferred or what's happening, you will see the same results. It's just the way you connect to the system. It's a bit different, but the end result will be the same.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't see any more questions in the chat for now. So I will be jumping into the questions that we prepared. So these are most common questions that we normally receive. It may be helpful for you. You're welcome, Sal. If you have more questions, we always prioritize the question in the chat, so feel free to write. Okay, so how to ensure the best data mapping?
Yeah, so here it's really important to know how your data is structured. And here I'm referring to any restrictions, any pick lists, any type of validations you have within the systems. Because as soon as you know how everything is organized and structured, then you can have a good mapping in place. If in one system everything is very restricted, everything is like really organized, but the other one everything is free, like you can add anything anywhere, then that can cause issues throughout the integration because in one system everything is correct because users are restricted and they have to add things correctly, but then the other one you don't have this type of limitation, so then anything can be added. So make sure that you look at that, at how they are configured in both systems, and try to have the same level of, let's say, setup and any type of customization. If you have if your ERP is highly customized, then okay, take a look at that, see how your data is structured, and make sure that whatever is in there, you also mirror it into your CRM. If you cannot do that, if you say, okay, I simply cannot clean things up and it is what it is, then we need to know about specific cases, and those can be handled via the integration, via the mapping. As I mentioned before, we can use any expressions, formulas to actually handle those situations when the systems they're really not compatible in terms of formats and data.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so when shall we restart our integration? Sorry, when shall we start our integration when considering to upgrade from NEF to BC?
Yeah, as soon as possible, I can do that. And I think the first step is to reach out when you have the scenario. So if you say, okay, we are upgrading, they reach out to the team, to our sales team. You explain your scenario, you explain your requirements, what exactly you want to do, all those details. And then based on your current situation, then the team will estimate, okay, how much time it will take, the hours needed, and so on and so forth. So you will get clarity and you will understand what needs to be done. But I think if you have the scenario, start right away because it's definitely good to start early and make sure that you finish everything also early.
Okay. That's a good response. Okay.
Yeah.
What would the process be if I decide to change my CRM?
Yeah, so I think this would be the same situation. Of course, CRMs are different. So again, it can be a different situation. But if this happens, you need to change it. Then again, you have to let the team know about this change. What is your timeline? Which are your requirements? Because of course, every company has different processes and different ways of doing things. And then based on that discussion, then we can have an assessment and provide you with next steps. The idea is to always reach out, make sure to provide all the details to the sales team, and then we can advise you on what's coming next.
Mhm. Okay. Why should we choose Rapid integration platform instead of using other standard integration tools?
Yeah, so this is a very common question. And let's say, okay, so we have, we'll go through a few reasons because otherwise we spend a lot of time here. So first one would be transparency from the very beginning. When you decide to work with Rapidi, you will know exactly what's included, what the scope is. So you know everything, it's upfront. You'll not have any kind of surprises in terms of, the hours spent or any additional work that is required or anything like that. Whereas if we were to talk about other integration tools, in that case, things are a bit different because, of course, the contracts are usually done on a T&M basis. So it's not something upfront and clearly explained. And this means that throughout the project, you might need to, you might have additional costs for that specific integration. Then point number two would be the mapping template or the, let's say, standard setup. On the Rapidi side, we have the mapping templates that I've talked about, and those are a good starting point for companies that want to speed up the process. And those mapping templates can be adjusted, can be modified, so you can make any type of changes. So it's up to every company. Whereas if you were to talk about other standard integration tools, they do provide you this type of, let's say, mapping templates, but you have to use them as they are, meaning that they consist of a specific list, let's say, of fields, and that's the only thing that you can use. Those are not subject to change or modifications, or also you cannot include, for example, custom fields in those. So if you say standard, then you stick to that, and then anything that's custom, then that's different, and you have to then change a bit of discussion and go into a more custom setup. So that's a huge difference because in our case, even though you have custom fields, you can still include them on the mapping templates. Doesn't mean that we have to go on a different route and have a custom integration. So that's really important. And then another point would be support. So after you go live, of course, you might need some helps, or maybe you have some questions or just have some doubt. You can always reach out to our support team so you get specialized help. So it happens that post go live, like during the first, let's say, weeks, you need a bit of help. So you get that from our side. But when it comes to other integration tools, you don't usually get support, meaning support is not included by default into your contract. So if you need personalized or specialized support, you need to pay separately for it and have a different contract. And I think support is very important because then you need someone to reach out to, a team to reach out to in case something is happening with your integration or you just need help. Right, so that's really a good, and it's really important to any company. So you want to have a very fast response instead of waiting for a couple of days or weeks until you get someone that can definitely help.
Mhm. Okay, one more. How can we set up the data integration project in 3 steps?
Okay, so first, define the scope. Very important. You have to know what you want to do by the integration. Second, connect to the systems. So we need to have permissions and be able to connect and read the data. And then third, mapping and testing. So if you're using the mapping templates, you can go straight to testing and see how things go, and then assess data in both systems. So it's pretty easy and straightforward.
Mhm. Good. Okay, why is it best to be prepared when handling errors?
So it's really important to be prepared for this, because you might run into errors, because it's normal. And you have to do it early. When you, for example, start the integration, then and you are going through UAT, then it's good to see what kind of errors you get, how they need to be resolved, and what needs to be done. And I'm saying this because the majority of them are data related errors, right? So everything has to do mainly with your data. So in the end, the customer needs to go back into the system and fix the data, and then allow everything to be sent back again. So if you practice this a lot during UAT and you troubleshoot, then once you go live, then you will be confident and comfortable with this part.
Okay. How are duplicated records handled during the integration?
Yeah, so whenever we set up an integration for any type of record, we always look at the unique IDs of those records. So if you remember earlier, I talked about the BC customer numbers, which are unique, and then the HubSpot IDs, which again are unique. So those can be used to avoid any duplicates being created. It's really important to set up the integration like this and make sure that you don't use anything else, any type of, let's say, IDs or numbers that are not unique when you try to send data from BC to HubSpot and the other way around. So we always, when we set up an integration, we focus on avoiding the situation and having everything configured so that you do not have duplicate records created.
Okay. Which systems do we support? We have often get this question.
Yeah, so I've talked a bit about the most common endpoints, and like I said, those are the ones for which there is a demand, a high demand, I would say. But we can also work with other systems. So, for example, we can definitely work with any, let's say, e-commerce websites if there is any integration need there, or any other product that you might have. Of course, we have listed the major ERPs, CRMs, and systems that are being used. But if you have something that's a bit different and it's not on our list, like I said, it doesn't mean we don't support it. It's just a matter of understanding your need, what you want to do, and then we can assess the situation and decide on next steps. We've had requests for different other systems, and I think we have successfully integrated those systems with CRMs or platforms, even though we haven't worked on those before.
Good. If we support the custom objects.
Yes, so the answer is yes, any custom objects, any custom fields if you have, so it's up to you. Let's not have everything custom, right? But in any case, if you have everything customized, then that's fine. You can definitely use them. As long as we have access to this data, then we're good to go.
Yes, so we do, and we offer great customer references also, if any doubts.
Exactly.
Why should we choose Rapidi integration platform instead of building integration by ourselves? I know this is your favorite, so
My favorite. Okay, so I think if we want to be efficient, if we want to save money and time, then we would choose Rapidi, because Rapidi has proven to work. So you don't need to go through any challenges or any kind of issues. And then, yeah, because then if you want to build something yourself, then it's a lengthy process. You have to invest a lot in it financially, and also resources. You need specialized resources, and also all the time that you need to spend there. But like I said, if this is like an internal project, something that the company is willing to focus on, then you can definitely do something internally in-house. But like I said, if you want to definitely speed up everything and get value out of the integration, then you definitely need to choose Rapidi.
good. Thank you for answering everything, Andrea. Okay, so we are on time. It's time to wrap up today's webinar. Stay tuned for the next webinars and save the dates. So next one would be on 19th of March. The topic would be Salesforce and MS Dynamics 365 Finance Integration. And then in April 23rd, we have Salesforce to Salesforce integration. And of course, you have the link to register. And what else? Yes, please visit our website. You have the link to contact us if you have any project, or maybe you're interested in partnership, or you have a customer project. You can reach out to us. You can find solution overviews, more case stories, fact sheets, documentation. If you are struggling to find something, reach out, we'll help you and send it. Else feedback, it's really important for us. We just dropped the link in the chat. You will also find all the presentation in the email shortly after the webinar, and it also comes with the link. So we'll be happy to hear your thoughts. If you have any suggestion about other solutions or other topics, we're happy to know. Follow and connect. We are active on social media. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. There are good and interesting videos on YouTube also. So yes, so please keep in touch, and thank you for attending. Thank you for rewatching the recording, and we hope to see you soon.